Hi guys, and I'm Retro Critic here, and today we're going to talk about and review Crash Bash. So Crash Bash was one of the first Crash games that was developed with our Naughty Dog, and it was one of the first Crash games, and that was developed by a new company. And well, you see, Naughty Dog wanted to move on with Crash, and I guess they wanted to sell the IP of Crash, and Naughty Dog wanted to do bigger and better things, and Naughty Dog was a success, and Naughty Dog then became a more better success, and they wanted to move on with Crash, so they instead decided to sell the IP to other companies. So basically, Crash Warped and Crash Team Racing were their last Crash games and last send-offs to Crash. So now there's Crash Bash, and Crash Bash was developed by this company called Eurocom Entertainment, and developed by that one Eurocom Entertainment. So now basically we have Crash Bash, and that's how we got Crash Bash. So Crash Bash was one of the last Crash games on the PS1. And so Crash Bash is like this Mario Party ripoff. So Crash Bash is like this Mario Party ripoff. So Crash Bash is similar to the Mario Party games, as you will see when we play this game. So Crash Bash is similar to the Mario Party games, as you will see when we play this game. It has a similar format, and it has a similar style, and similar gameplay, and similar controls. Okay guys, so now let's talk about Crash Bash, and let's get started. So let's jump right ahead. So let's find out and see if this game still holds up, and let's see if this game is still worth it to play, and let's see if this is a good game, and let's see if this is a game that can still be enjoyable to play. And let's start and see this, and let's find out and see for ourselves. So the story of the game opens up where Aku Aku and Uka Uka are fighting and staring who is the best and strongest, and then Aku Aku and Uka Uka and arguing who is the best and strongest, and then Aku Aku and Uka Uka are debating who can be the most powerful and be a ruler and be the ruler of the world or something. So Aku Aku and Uka Uka were debating if evil or good can win, and they were arguing if evil or good can win, and it's really just about good versus evil.
It is I who is the strongest, and it is evil that will ultimately prevail.
This bickering can go on no longer. We must resolve this once and for all time.
For once, feeble brother, I agree with you. We shall settle this argument. Prepare to fight!
No, Uka Uka. The ancients would not allow it. There can be no malice between us.
And so right where they were going to hash out and fight it out, and Aku Aku warns Uka Uka about the gods, and that he should not anger the gods. Okay, first of all, who are the gods? And this is the first time the gods were mentioned here. Who are the gods, and what are they? I mean, this is the first time we hear about the gods. And who are they? And that means they're a more powerful being, and they're more powerful, but that's really because they're trying to argue it out, see and fight out, and see who will be the true god ruler of the world.
A contest then. Good against evil. Your players against mine.
Very well. Summon the teams. Let the games begin.
So then Aku Aku and Uka Uka starts to challenge each other, and then they decide on an agreement that they should challenge each other, but bring in their best fighters to duke it out. And yes, that's right. They summon Crash and Coco and Cortex and Tiny the Tiger and to have the best fighters to duke it out. So Aku Aku and Uka Uka summon Crash and Coco and Cortex and Tiny the Tiger and all the other characters and heroes and villains. So they've decided to see which team is better, and so that it can determine if good or evil can win. And yes, that's right. In their agreement, they choose to see which team is better, and so they can determine if good or evil can win. Oh my god. And the story of the game is interesting, but kind of lackluster and mediocre. So the game's story is mediocre and lackluster, and it does sound interesting, but it's really kind of bland. And it's so bland that it's meh, and it's a story with no explanation, and yes, no explanation. It's not worthwhile, and yes, it's not worthwhile. And it's just average, and it's a game that just has a random story. It's a game that just has a random story in the game. Oh, so then there's this new character we're introduced to. And this new character that we are introduced is just a monkey that just like to throw things. And God, doesn't he just remind me of Donkey Kong? And oh wait, he is just an unoriginal Donkey Kong. Boy, does he remind me of Donkey Kong. And he's just an unoriginal Donkey Kong ripoff from PlayStation. And this monkey character is just bland. And this monkey character just likes to throw things, and he's just bland, and there's nothing much to say about him. And there's nothing really much to say about him, and so now on to the gameplay. And so the gameplay is literally similar to a Mario Party game. And the gameplay is just like a Mario Party game that's creative on its own way. And so the levels are kind of generic, and the levels are kind of laughable, and and the lives make you do sports and jumping and mini games. All it's just mini games, and yes, you heard me right, jumping, and the levels are not that impressive, and the levels are not the greatest, the levels are decent, and the levels are just okay. And so okay that they're just bland and dull, and they're just laughable, and yes, I laugh at it. And they make you do sports and jumping, and yes, you heard me right, jumping. And levels are just okay, and so okay that they're just bland and dull. So now onto the bosses. And the bosses in this game are kind of embarrassing, and they're kind of silly. And the bosses are kind of generic and really hard to beat. And I do like the bosses. And like, the bosses are so easy to pass it, that you can pass it easily, and that's so you can just pass it easily, and the bosses are pretty okay, and the bosses are fine, the bosses are decent, and the bosses are just average, except for one boss fight. And it's one boss fight that I like, and it's the boss fight that I like, and it's the polar bear boss fight. And this fight is good, it's so good, and I actually like this one boss fight. The polar bear boss fight is actually my favorite, and I like it. The boss fight that I like the most is the polar bear boss fight. And the polar bear boss fight is literally kind of fun. And it's literally a polar bear that's in a submarine tank that has a shooting cannon. And when he shoots his cannon, he can be the most difficult, and it's fun and easy, and it's a good hard fight. And I do like this boss fight. And it's a polar bear that's in a submarine tank that has a shooting cannon, and when he shoots his cannon, it is the most difficult, but it's fun, and it's easy, and it's a good hard fight, and it's a fun fight, and it's a good fight overall. And fight as well, and it's fine. It's a very good fight, and a really great boss fight. So all you do is mini games, and these mini games are just mediocre. And do these mini games, and these mini games are interesting, fascinating, like PlayStation. And I just like the PlayStation ran out of ideas. And the mini games are great. The mini games are really interesting, and the mini games are fast. The mini games are kind of garbage. The mini games are just kind of generic to me, kind of boring, really. The mini games are really boring, and the mini games are really just kind of generic, really. The mini games are great and average. The mini games are kind of generic, but also I do like it where every time you die, it just says game over or you fail. That's the most awesome sounding you fail I've ever seen. Like every time you die, it shows like this screen. It shows us like this pop-up screen that just says game over or you fail. And I like how every time you die, it shows you fail or game over. And so it's awesome looking you fail game over scene. And I like how every time you die, it shows game over and it shows you fail. And I like how every time you die, it shows game over or that you fail. And so it's awesome looking game over and awesome looking you fail.
You fail. You fail.
And every time you die, it shows like kind of the most awesome sounding like game over screen I've ever seen. It shows the most awesome sounding like you fail kind of screen, it shows like a close up of like the letters of the game over sign or the fail sign.
Fail. Fail.
So then the game ends where good can beat evil, and where good can beat evil, and where good has won and evil has lost. So then the game ends where Aku Aku is proud of that he won, knows everything is safe, and Aku Aku is proud, and Uka Uka retreats, and Uka Uka admits defeat, and Aku Aku knows that everything will be safe, and when he's around, and that heroes will always be there to protect the world. Then it shows where heroes will always win, beat evil, and then he literally then Aku Aku shoots Uka Uka down to space, down this hole.
What are you doing?
These crystals are far too powerful to leave lying around. They are safe once more. That is all you need to know.
I want what is mine!
I believe that can be arranged.
What is this?
The penalty for disturbing the crystals, my brother.
Then Aku Aku shoots Uka Uka down to the space, shoots him in this portal, shoots him down this portal, and he basically just shoots him the hell out of space or something. And then he just shoots him down this portal the hell out of space. So that was the ending of the game. And Crash Bash to me is just an average game. And overall, I think Crash Bash is just a mediocre game. And it's just an okay game. It's just so kind of a meh game. And Crash Bash to me is just a Mario Party ripoff. Crash Bash to me is just a Mario Party ripoff where the PlayStation just ran out of ideas and they just decided to just do another Mario Party ripoff game. And that's just because the PlayStation just ran out of ideas, really. I think it's another Mario Party ripoff spoof. And I think it's just a average and bland, dull game, really. And so, guys, I give Crash Bash a 5 out of 10. Now, I was going to give this game a 4 out of 10. Now, don't get me wrong, it actually did deserve a 4 out of 10. That's just kind of what the game is, a 4 out of 10 kind of game. But really, what actually maybe gave this game a 5 out of 10 was because of one thing only. It was the polar bear boss fight. Yes, that's right. I actually do like the pull brick boss fight in this game. And I actually do like that boss fight, and it's one of my favorite boss fights of the game, and it actually made the game kind of better. And that's the part where I think the game actually kind of redeemed itself, really. So that's kind of what I think about that. And it's the best part of the game, and that's my thoughts on the game, that's what I think about it. And so guys, I'm Retro Critic, and I'm out. And I'll see you guys later. And I'll see you guys next time, and I'll see you guys in the next video, and I'll see you guys around, and peace out, and bye.